It's a new year, so I thought today might be a good time to kind of sit down and discuss our thoughts on The Sims. Last year was actually a really big year for us. I mean, they announced The Sims 5, like that's kind of hard to top, but I guess that kind of gives me some high expectations for The Sims in 2023, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to discuss my predictions, my wish list, basically just all of my thoughts on The Sims for the next year. I have even made a little slideshow for us today, so I present to you my 2023 Sims wish list. There's an obvious place to start here, and that is babies, because they've already confirmed this as a feature coming really soon. They've already teased that infants are coming in early 2023, which means like really soon probably. I don't exactly know what early 2023 means, because that could be like January, is it March? But either way, we can at the very least probably expect some news on infants soon, and then the actual update pretty soon after that. This is just wild for me to think about, because honestly, I never thought the day would come. It feels like we've all been begging for a baby update for years. Like even before toddlers, everybody was like, wow, babies kind of suck in The Sims. And then after the toddler update, we were all like, okay, but can you do babies next? Because they are literally just objects, and they're actually doing it, and we've seen it. So they announced this in the Behind the Sims Summit a couple months ago, and I want to show you what we know so far officially. They've confirmed that it's going to be a base game update, so it's going to be free for all players and coming in early 2023, but there isn't like a specific time frame for that yet. It's going to be a new life stage, so think like how they added toddlers to the game. With this, they're going to add infants to the game, and from my understanding, the babies that we have now are going to remain. Sims are still going to be born as those little box babies in the bassinets, and then from there, they'll age up into infants, and I keep hearing the word newborn thrown around. I don't know if that's like an official word or if that's like the community made up that word, but think of the babies that we have now as newborns, and then they would age up into infants. They've already adjusted adult lifespans to be a little bit longer, I assume to accommodate this new life state, and based on what we've seen so far, the babies can do a lot of things. We saw like a little video of them crawling and then getting picked up by their parent, so we know that they can move around independently. There's also like some new toys in the background of that video, so it seems like maybe they'll have new toys and like new baby options. It's interesting to think about this because I feel like the Sims 4 toddlers are a little bit older than the previous game's toddlers. Like I think the Sims 3 toddlers are a little bit younger than the Sims 4 ones, and so to me it seems like this infant state is gonna be like an in-between of the Sims 3 babies and toddlers, because we had babies that could, I guess, maybe do more in the Sims 3. They couldn't really, they were kind of just like little potatoes that you could bring around with you, but it looks like these Sims 4 infants are gonna be little potatoes that you can bring around, but they can also move on their own, which is kind of exciting, but really there isn't much more that we know yet. I actually made an entire video talking about babies and theorizing on that I can link down below for you, but this is obviously the biggest, most major thing I'm expecting to see in 2023, and that's easy to say because it's confirmed, but they also confirmed something else. In that same Behind the Sims Summit, they actually teased 2 expansion packs, and this is a really big deal because we haven't got 2 expansions in a year in a long time. Back in the day when The Sims 4 first came out, we used to get like 2 expansion packs every single year. There was a ton of new packs being made, but as of more recently, they've kind of slowed down with the expansions, and I think that might be because of COVID. I'm assuming that transition in early COVID to working from home like really slowed down the process, and we've just been seeing them trying to catch up recently. They're obviously like way back in the swing of things, but I think that maybe that delay really affected them for a while. But now they've teased 2 expansion packs, so I'm really hoping that that's the new normal again. They gave us a couple screenshots, so I'm gonna show you those first, and I'm sorry for the quality, but they teased a couple new worlds. These are just drawings, so there isn't a ton to go off of here, but we can see like a waterfront on the right here. There's a city in the back, some sort of bridge, maybe like a San Francisco sort of vibe. This one's a bit more colorful. There's like some market stalls maybe. I'm not really sure if these are supposed to be the same world or if it's 2 different ones, if they're the expansion pack worlds or like maybe a game pack world. It's really vague, but there's a couple things in this image in particular that got a lot of people really excited, specifically the child riding a bike and this person carrying a baby on their back. Everybody saw that and was like, oh my god, it's Generations. For me personally, this is like dream come true scenario because I have wanted more family gameplay for so long. I'm almost a little wary to even like call it that right now because I would be so sad if it wasn't, but it seems like a Generations style pack or at least some sort of family gameplay could be very possible in at least one of those expansions. In the other one, I'm not really so sure. I feel like they haven't given us a lot to go off of. I'm guessing that it might be more of a wild card pack in the same way that Snowy Escape was. And what I mean by that is that it's new. So when you think of The Sims and the expansion packs, a lot of times like the basics come to mind, like university, pets, seasons, even like fame and stuff, those things that come in every single generation of The Sims. But then they also have some like wild card ones, like Into the Future from The Sims 3, or like Snowy Escape, which we had never had anything like before. So I'm assuming that whatever the other second expansion pack is, it's gonna be something like completely new. So I don't even really know how to predict that or like make a guess. I have some things that I would like to see, but I don't know. It could be anything really. And they did tease a couple other things. They showed off this new builds screenshot. This shows the concept art for 2 rooms. There's sort of like a more rustic styled one on the right, and the left one almost looks a little bit more coastal or even like modern farmhousey. I feel like these things are from 2 different sets or 2 different packs, but I don't really know how to draw conclusions off of them, or at least maybe I'm a little wary of drawing conclusions off of them. They also showed this screenshot that said more ways to tell your Sims story. A lot of us got really excited about this too because it had like some cute clutter items, it had these dentures, and we were like, oh my god, generations. This thing almost looks like some sort of memory box. There's like some new underwear, and also this chair, which looking back on now, I realize is the chair from the pastel pop kit. So that makes it clear to me that these things might not all be expansion pack images because this one's from a kit that we already have. Well, we didn't have it yet when this stream happened, but we have it now. So that poses a lot of interesting questions about the kind of build packs we'll be getting next year. But when I look at this, I'm gonna be honest, it looks like custom content to me in a good way, which makes me think that maybe it's from an SDX drop, or it will be in an SDX drop. These SDX drops stand for Sims Delivery Express, and it's like a little mini update. They do these in between the monthly real patches, and they'll sometimes drop things like a new chair or a new painting. In the past, we've gotten new food items, new clothes and stuff, and they've also done a few collabs with creators for these. For example, this table was part of a big update they did where they added a bunch of CC items officially into the game. So Hey Harry made like a dining room set. It had a table and some chairs, and they added it into The Sims along with like a bunch of other CC. I would love to see more of that in the next year. I would love to see more collabs with creators. Maybe not just things that they've officially made, but at the very least collabs with people. For example, this art piece got added last year, and they collabed with a real Brazilian art team to make it, and then they added it into The Sims. And I feel like these collaborations are where they really shine, especially with the small SDX drops. I'm gonna talk about the food specifically a little bit later on, but it's really cool to not only number one highlight people, but also to add in more cultural items this way. And even if it's just a small thing like one painting or one shirt or whatever, it's really nice to get free updates, and I would love to see them keep up the frequency of these or even like make it more frequent. I love when they've got like a monthly little thing that has one new hair or like some new t-shirt swatches. Even if like base game shirts, they did like a games SDX drop last month, and they added a new like game t-shirt but also gave us some new plain swatches, and that's just such a win for everybody. I love to see things like that. Genuinely, just like recolors would make a huge difference. If they did like an SDX drop where they recolored a base game bed and gave us like 4 more swatches, that would be a huge deal, and I feel like that's kind of easy for them to do. So basically, I would love to see more of that kind of thing. This is like top of my wish list, to be honest. On a slightly bigger note, one of the other things they talked about at that Sim Summit live stream was The Sims 5. They announced a thing called Project Rene at that summit, and this was the first time they ever officially confirmed that they are working on a future generation of a Sims game. They never actually called it The Sims 5. They just call it Project Rene right now. It's basically a code name. That's super normal in the industry. Even like the PlayStation 5 had a code name for a while. I've seen a lot of people being like, it's not The Sims 5, it's some weird thing. No, don't worry, it's the next generation Sims game. They just haven't named it yet. We are almost certainly like years and years away from the actual release of this game, at least I assume. So I'm definitely not expecting like a Sims 5 drop this year, but I would love to see more news on it, especially since it seems like they're trying to be more transparent this time around. I mean, they've already announced it and like showed us some footage and screenshots and stuff, which is like unheard of for The Sims. They never announce things this early. Here's an example of one of those things they showed us. They did like a little highlight reel of a ton of build tools. So this is kind of like a first look at like really early Sims 5 development. If you're curious about this, I've made entire videos on it too, so I'll link it down below. But it looks like it's gonna have a ton of customization options, which I am really excited about. And I am really looking forward to hearing more about this kind of thing. Like, I will eat up any ounce of Sims 5 news I can get. I am really curious about it. Kind of going back to The Sims 4 though, and maybe like slightly less exciting, I want to talk about kits. kits. Okay, so I don't really love kits. I would love to see stuff packs come back instead. I've just sort of accepted the fact that it's not gonna happen because as of now, it's been 2 years since the last stuff pack came out. So I'm not over here getting real excited about the thought of stuff packs anymore because I just don't think it's very likely. I feel like they've definitely replaced them with kits. And so in this world of kits, I'm now thinking like, what would make me like the kits better? And I think that's more collaboration. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I really think The Sims thrives when it comes to collaborating. The most recent kits have been really, really good. Like Jessie's Pastel Pop kit is my favorite kit they have ever made. The Desert Luxe kit had this curtain that is amazing, and my face is kind of covering it, but it came with this curtain rod that you could use to like extend the curtains out and make a custom curtain width. And I think that's the beauty of working with Simmers on these kits because they realize kind of pain points like curtain rods that have been previously overlooked, and then they fix it and make like the best curtains in the game. So if they're gonna do more kits, I would love to see more collaborative kits. I know we all know this, but I like way prefer build mode kits over create a sim kits. So I'm gonna talk more about those because for me, my ideal world is like mostly just build kits. But if they're gonna do kits, I have a few wish list items that I would love to see more of. I've made entire videos talking about kit wish lists at this point, like multiple times. But specifically, I would love to see more beds, and I didn't write this, but also couches, also kitchens, because these are things that like really determine the style of the home. It's huge to have more kitchen sets. I feel like we don't have a lot of landscaping and we don't get a ton of new landscaping like ever. So I would love to see a kit focused on landscaping and like filler plants and new bushes and flowers. I think I would love a pack like that. And also rugs and curtains. I really want a lot more like neutrally looking rugs and curtains. I'm sick of the like bright color patterned curtains we got in Eco Lifestyle. I want to have some nice plain ones like this. Just give me a few more variants, a few more swatches, couple different curtain rod type pieces, and I will be happy. And the same goes for rugs. I like a patterned rug, but I sort of want more like neutrally patterned rugs, things that are a bit easier to fit into every space. I actually have my game open right now, so I'll show you an example. To me, this rug is like almost a neutral. It's got some color, but it's simple. It's only a circle. It's like little lines. And then this rug is really brightly colored and has a lot of patterns on it. And this is really fun for like certain spaces, but it's also kind of hard to use things that are this bright and this colorful. If we had this rug in like some slightly more neutral tones, this swatch is kind of a good example how it's got some pattern, but it's like a white color, so it's easy to use in a lot of places. Even when we have things with color, if there was just like some more tone on tone or like some less vibrant colors and more pastels, I don't know, it just would be easier to use and you can fit it into more spaces, and that's what I'm looking for. Although I do love the size of this rug. This is like the perfect living and dining room size rug, so I would love to see more of this too. And that doesn't just go for kits. I'd love to see that in like all the packs. I just want more rugs and curtains and beds and kitchens and everything in general. But I feel like kits are a good place to focus on that. While we're talking about build mode, there's obviously so many bug fixes in this game that I would love to see them improve, not just in build mode, but like everywhere. But specifically, there's a few build mode bugs that are so irritating to me. In general, platforms are kind of annoying and hard to work with, but there's some issues with platforms causing shadows on the second floor when you use them. I would love to see that be fixed. Oh my god, the octagonal roofs clipping weird. I'm used to roof clipping, but these octagonal roofs and like the round roofs in general sometimes clip in the weirdest ways. Not in like the normal, oh, there's a fence in the building so the roof is clipping way, but in like you just drew a bedroom and all of a sudden there's a roof clipping in that you didn't think would ever be visible from there. I would love for them to revisit that. And also the terrain paint bugs. There has been a bug for literally years where terrain paint just disappears when you reload a lot, and it is so annoying when you spend a long time building a house and like making the terrain paint perfect, then like close your game and come back tomorrow and it's gone and you have to redo it. And it's been happening for so long, like for as long as I can remember. I really would like to see that fixed this year too. But like I said, there's so many bugs in this game. I like just bug fixes in general obviously is on the wish list. I do appreciate how they're being more transparent on Twitter about what they're working on though. They made this Twitter called The Sims Direct, and they've been talking a lot more about the bugs they're working on and the timeline for them being fixed and things like that. So I really do appreciate that, and I would love to see it get kept up. Similar to that vein of updates, I would love to see another pack refresh, but if I'm being honest, I feel like it's probably extremely unlikely. Last year, we got a huge refresh to the Spa Day pack, and I think that they did this because they were trying to experiment a little bit and see if they went back and refreshed old packs, if it would cause more sales. So I feel like the Spa Day one was kind of a test to see if we added some more things, would more people buy it? And because they haven't done it again, I think that maybe that experiment failed and they probably didn't didn't get as many new sales as they wanted out of it. So I don't know if they're ever gonna do it again, but if they did, I would love to see either Luxury Party or Dine Out get a refresh. For me personally, I think that Luxury Party needs it more. Luxury Party is my least favorite pack for the entire Sims 4. I think that pack is a genuine waste of money. Like, if you bought Luxury Party, you are out $10. We have all wasted $10 on this pack. So I don't really want to refresh because I like Luxury Party. I want to refresh because I feel like it needs it. Like, for the pack to be worth the $10, they have to fix it and add more. It's got like 5 build items and like a handful of kind of weird clothing and also a buffet table. Like, that's the gameplay and that's kind of cool, but like we have that in the wedding pack now, so we don't really need it anymore from this one. Luxury Party just causes me so much pain, and I would love to see them go back and like maybe add some better party planning features, or at least like a new kind of event that you can plan. If they added like some more items or something, it needs something added to it, because right now it sucks. I know most people want to see Dine Out revisited, and I agree. I'd love to see Dine Out get an update as well. There's actually a mod for that called Dine Out Reloaded by Carl's Guides, which really helps, but obviously it's nice to have these things like officially in the game for console players who can't get mods and stuff like that. Dine Out also just kind of sucks, but mostly because she's buggy. I would love to see them go back and add more things to it, but that one also seems like a really good candidate to add in like a better system for running the restaurant and like make it more smooth and things like that. But in general, Spa Day's refresh was a huge win in my book. Number one, because they added some new gameplay features to the Spa Day pack, so everybody who already had it just got like a free update. But they also added some base game content along with it, because they added nail polish to the base game and then like expanded on nail polish in the pack by like letting you get your nails done and stuff. And that's the best way to do it, I feel like, to give everyone a feature but then expand on it in a pack. And I'm just kind of sad they haven't done it again. I would love to see them do it, but I just don't think they will. This is wishful thinking, this slide. Perhaps a slightly more realistic hope is for some Townie refreshes. Last year we got a huge update to the Goth family. They went back and like completely redesigned them, which was much needed. And now that we have that and we know it's possible, I would love to see them go back and do this for all of the old Townies. Not necessarily to the same like extreme scale they did for the Goth family. Like, I don't need to have every single family completely redesigned, but they never even gave hot and cold weather outfits to the base game Townies. So right now, Nancy Landgrab in everybody's save just has like a randomized cold weather outfit, and that really bugs me, especially since we know they can fix it and they just didn't. So that is like a desperate wish of mine. I really want them to go back and give hot and cold weather outfits to all of the old Sims, because any of the pre-made Sims pre-seasons just don't have them. But now we also have likes and dislikes, so I'd love to see those things get added for story if we're lucky. I'd also love for them to go back and fix some of the relationships that aren't correct. So for example, Johnny Zest is a land grab. He's supposed to be Jeffrey and Nancy's son. Obviously he's kind of separated himself from them, but I wish that he was still in the family tree. But if you don't read that little description, you wouldn't know that. He doesn't even have like a red relationship bar with them, and I really wish they would go in and fix that for the story. Those three are all necessities for me, but if they're gonna go back and do some more heavy redesigning of Sims, I feel like a lot of the older Townies have some really unrealistic body proportions. I put Candy Bear here on the screen as an example because I feel like she's got a really unnaturally tiny waist. If you go into cast, you'll see actually that her waist is as tiny as you can make it, like you can't shrink it any further. And I think they've been doing a lot better job more recently of making more realistic Sims, but I really wish that the older ones were that way too. I don't really love the Sims like having basically Barbies in the game. It's really important to have realistic bodies in the game, and honestly they could just be doing a lot better with that completely across the board. But some other updates I'd love to see include the neighborhood stories feature. I'm talking about this thing, like how you can configure people adopting kids and moving and dying and stuff. This is basically the Sims 4's equivalent to story progression. We got this last year and it was a huge deal. I was really excited about this feature, and I'd love to see it get expanded on. Specifically, I would love to see Sims be able to start dating, maybe get engaged or get married on their own, because right now it's more about having babies and like moving and dying. I would love to see relationship features added to that, especially since they can choose to have babies or like get a new job now. It would be so cool if, for example, Cassandra Goth could age up and find someone to get married to, and they could settle down and have kids, and like the Goth family would continue for generations. Because right now those pre-made Sims just like die out basically, and I would really love to see the game letting them continue on in that way. And also maybe some more specific settings to configure like who this happens to and how often it happens, because right now you can use this menu to like adjust on an individual household basis. Maybe you don't want the Goth family to be able able to die, but you're totally fine if they adopt a baby. So you can turn off this one and then let them adopt a child. I guess in my personal gameplay, I'd probably do the opposite and let them die, but you know. I also typically choose to have my Sims never move because I find it kind of confusing if they start moving around on their own. So I usually turn off the move in and move out feature. But I guess what I mean is I wish I could configure this a little bit more. Like if I could personally tune how likely it is for them to die, because I'm kind of okay if they die, but like maybe I could make it less likely or more likely or whatever. And then same thing goes if we do get relationship features added. It might be nice to determine like what kind of sim they want to date, or like can they get divorced? Like those sort of things might be nice to be able to adjust the frequency of, because for some reason it seems like some of these sims are popping out so many babies and like others have none. So I don't know. That's just an idea that I had. We're kind of winding down here though. So this is my last slide of my last dream gameplay features. I would love to see more hobbies get added, just like more skills for my Sims to do. I just really love the cross stitch and the knitting and stuff, so I would love to have more little hobbies for my Sims. It's really fun for telling a story, and also I can do like rags to riches with it, so I really like that kind of thing. Also, just in general, more family features. I really want more gameplay for extended family, or just like any sort of acknowledgement of extended family, because at a certain point your Sims like stop caring and it stops tracking who's related. I would love to have like better tracking on the family tree. I'd love to have better labels for like aunt and uncle and cousin, second cousin, stuff like that. Also being able to set those labels better in cast would be awesome. You can't even set like dating partners in cast. You can just set people that are engaged or married. I want to have like a grandparent label and like all of those options in Create a Sim. I feel like some of these things are probably likely just with the addition of infants, but I really want more family things for those infants, like maybe some grandparent interactions or something like that. Also strollers. I would love to see strollers. I really miss like taking my babies on walks in The Sims 3, so I would love to have that come back. And I kind of mentioned foods and recipes on that SDX drop slide, but I really, really love when they add in more recipes into the game, and I feel like this is kind of an easy way to add like gameplay, because it's not really new gameplay, they're still just cooking something, but I feel like food is a great way to add better representation into the game. People can make their favorite foods, people can have their Sims make foods that their family made growing up. Like, it's just a really nice thing to add in. For example, there's been a lot of requests for better Jewish representation in The Sims, and I feel like food is a great way to start adding some things in there. Obviously not just food, but it would be great to have some Jewish foods in the game. It really is like a simple little feature that makes a huge difference. So I'm hoping for a lot of food updates in the coming year. I feel like we got a bunch in 2022, so I'm hoping for some more in 2023. And last, but certainly not least, my number one biggest request, please can we have online dating? I talk about this every year, every time I talk about like, what do you want in The Sims? Online dating, please, please. I want my Sims to online date so badly. That's like my number one gameplay feature request. I want to have like a Sims Tinder, please. Right now, I have my Sims make a club of all of the single young adults in town, like with Get Together, and then I meet them that way. That is silly. I want to like make a dating profile and have my Sim browse it. I know there's mods for stuff like that, but I would love to have that be added as an official feature. It just makes so much sense. Like, everybody does online dating now. Come on, please, 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 please. In The Sims 3, that was like the only way I ever met anybody. You just couldn't anyway, because there weren't Sims elsewhere. Like, you go to a lot and it would be empty. But like, online dating was the only way I ever met Sims to date in The Sims 3, and I just want it in The Sims 4 so bad. But that's it. That is my wish list and kind of my predictions for The Sims in 2023. I'm really curious to hear in the comments, what more do you want to see? Like, what are you looking forward to this year, or like really hoping for? Obviously, I did not cover everything, and there's a ton more stuff that I would love to see. But to kind of sum it up, better representation, bug fixes, more collabs, not just with Simmers, but just collabs in general, like with artists and designers and things. Also, a lot of base game updates. I'm really hoping for a lot of base game content this year. And of course, like the Sims 5 news. That's kind of a big one as well. I am so looking forward to hearing more about the next game. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope that 2023 is a great one for you. And on that note, I'm gonna end this video right here. If you like The Sims, I make videos playing it literally every day, so feel free to subscribe. I also stream The Sims a ton over on my Twitch channel. It's just twitch.tv/lilsimsie, so check me out over there. And I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. Oh my gosh, this took me so long to make because I kept wanting to add more and more and more and more, but I need to be reasonable. It needs to be a reasonable length for a video.